All right. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Friday Digital Research and Daily Administrative Series. Well, I should say weekly Friday Administrative Series from Project Zero. Focused on today on a continuation of wisdom, and the last and final, only the second and the final episode that we'll be talking about wisdom. We'll cover more Google stuff, more Gmail, and once again, this is Project Regio used to be once dubbed the Onward Project, which was a psychiatric multimedia self-improvement process to reach the high goals and ambitions we set for ourselves, well, the self-improvement process to reach high school, comes in a variety of formats, series, media forms, concepts, analogies, and I'm not going to run through all of them, but again, it's pretty much every 7 a.m. in the morning, 5 days a week, schedule over on the YouTube playlists, but in a variety of formats, like podcasts, live streams, videos, and more. All available on a variety of platforms: Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, and more. Okay. So let's just dive right into it. Let's just wrap up wisdom. Okay, so wisdom. Where do we leave off last week? Last week we left off on I believe going through Google reviews after checking out some of the email drafts and sent emails correspondence between me and one of the most likely chatbot talent acquisition team members of the Wisdom app, which is a community where you can freely join and connect with other podcasters or create a podcast of your own that is very engaging, interactive in its format with others. So it's not a podcast in the traditional sense where it's basically you sitting alone in a room. It's a very engaged community building type of podcasting platform, highly focused on networking and getting to know people. Alright, so it's a good idea. I don't know if the execution was really good, but we'll see. Alright, so here's the Reddit. I wanted to come here because I after receiving an email about a year and a half to 2 years ago from M, which was the talent acquisition, I don't have to give privacy or confidentiality because, again, it's mostly a chat bot, but I'm going to do it anyways. Sending the email, and I received it, and this invitation from them, which I showed in the previous episode, but it got too long, so I had to start a second episode. I am lethargic, I am tired. It's 2 a.m. at night. Sorry, guys. I am going to record anyways, though. It's okay. It's a very tedious series anyway, so I'm pretty sure you're all prepared for that. It's mostly focused on useful stuff and daily activities. So, seeing that, it came most likely from a chatbot. I wanted to see if there was any legitimacy, and so what I did is I just went on Bing and I searched up if other people had received emails from Wisdom, and surely enough, other people have, and many of them chalked it up to be some kind of, small, shady, sketchy, dodgy company trying to get your information by luring you with the premise of monetizing your podcast or passionate projects. And so here we go. This is the subreddit on podcasting thread from 4 years ago. Wisdom app. Received an email from them. Anyone heard of it? So received this email, went on their website, joinwisdomapp.com. It's the same as mine. And to him, makes no sense. Here was their email. I'm the top mentor concierge of a new social audio experience called Wisdom. I'd like to formally invite you to be a top mentor on the app. It's designed for folks like you so you can monetize your expertise and do some good at the same time. I think you'd be a perfect fit for the arts and hobbies category. Top mentors get monetization every minute anyone listens to you. You also get your talks privileged in search. Okay. I really hope you'll join us on the ground floor of the wisest social audio experience. I can send you over a sign-up link to reserve your spot in the mentor program for when the app launches this summer. Can I send you the link? Happy to answer any questions around it too. Thanks. And smiley face. Now, immediately, the OP 99 Reddit user 99 quotes says that the email sounds dodgy. Some people agree. There's a lot of comments, 262 comments. So I just got one of these emails too. They say they love my podcast, which I haven't updated in over a full year. So I'm sure they're a big fan. I sent Melissa a quiz on her podcast as she loves it so much. Strangely, I haven't heard back. Weird for such a top fan. Right? So once again, like I said, it's a chatbot sending an email campaign in a blast email. Reminds me of like the AppSumo days. These are a lot of startup companies and they're usually not, they're labor short due to not having enough funding. And so on and so forth. And they're using tactics that are generally not, on the scale of something professional like Microsoft. Or the Big Five, the FANG. So, Keith Cooper, hold up. You guys telling me you also have a podcast? I thought I was the only one doing this. And Melissa loved mine and only mine. It's just sarcasm at this point. She liked mine and said not to reveal the truth to Keith Cooper. So this guy says, I did research the company. I reached out to them and talked to a person, Brock, over email. Looks like they are doing an outreach campaign to everyone with a podcast. The messages are templates. And they said they do have people on the team that are supposed to listen to cool shows and invite them to the app. He said like all the people they hired to do outreach, a few of them were not doing as instructed. I asked for more detail. He just said though that he's not sure what management was doing with those people. But that they are working hard to become better at curation. This is the standard, a long time ago, content curation. They also sent me the gift card and everything they said did actually get delivered. I did get emails from 2 different people. One from my first podcast, which I stopped publishing, and the next from a new show that has only 5 episodes. It's unclear if they listen to it. I don't think it's spam because they are actually looking to help monetize it, and I do actually believe they're working to get users that can mentor, so I will be giving it a shot. Hope this helps. It took days to get the inside scoop. Someone else did the same. Seems shady, but honestly, it's exactly what I said it is. I think they find podcasts aren't gaining a following, aren't making money, giving us the opportunity to do more of the work. though it's a slow grind with a community full of people that know their own thing. I personally didn't do it long. It took 2 months just to make $5, so it's not worth it. Someone calls this post up for being a shill, but whatever. All podcasters are getting spam emails, really coming away to market, which is why I would never consider doing business with them. Okay, come on, buddy. Spam emails. It's really not that big of a deal. Someone here benefited significantly. This was like 2 years ago. I have almost 1,000 followers and made more than $100 in the first month and a half just by creating talks. Everyone is different. I've grown my community, even had fellow wisdomer visit me from out of state and bring up me a painting he made as a gift. Totally worth it for me. I just spent about $50 on Amazon in 1 month of books for myself and a friend. You can find me here. It continues to be a great experience for me. Now, of course, I clicked on the link, making sure that it doesn't violate me to the app. And it turns out that it doesn't lead. Like the podcast that this guy apparently used to do is already down. So it says a lot about whether or not it was sustainable. Certainly wasn't sustainable in the long run. Okay, and so that's it. I mean, there's more down here, but again, most people are sketched out and they claim it to be a scam. It's not a scam, it's just not a very good platform, I'm going to say. Speaking of which, on the right hand side, I noticed that there's some interesting threads like Spotify for creators. Best apps for small income. Has anyone heard of Pictor or received an email from them? Launching an app with no personal brand, it feels like shouting into the void. I thought this story was interesting as well. Since we're talking about podcasting, Spotify for creators. So before Spotify for creators was created, it was called Anchor. And that's kind of where I organize the source of my podcast. So it's interesting that just 3 months ago in 2024, people still use it as this platform. So here we go. Trini Rusty Candy asked, I use Anchor on Spotify about a year ago and loved the idea I was able to add music in between my podcast. As I'm about to start a new one, I'm not seeing this feature anymore. Has something changed? Or is it no longer possible to include popular music in your Spotify podcast? Is there another way to do it, or am I just stuck with the Riverside now? Bless. And in fact, that's true. Spotify discontinued that feature. Holly says, music rights are so much of a hassle that I use an AI platform called Newbert to create my backing tracks. I don't know if it's just a podcast, but the service says that Spotify can't allow it for copyright reasons. This guy down there, Pop Culture, was telling a friend about the feature when he went to look for more information. It wasn't there anymore. Couldn't find it. And then, of course, they removed it earlier in the year when they abandoned Anchor's features for Riverside's features. Yeah. Not only that, but you can't even put your own original music as part of the podcast feature. It's pretty crazy. Anytime you have music, it's always it's a real bitch, right? So, I don't know what to tell you. Alright, so while we're still on the theme of podcasts, Reddit, I really wanted to see, maybe I should log into Reddit myself and join this subreddit or subreddit podcasting, because there might be some interesting stuff here, right? And so I just wanted to read through some of these things that are on the feed. So, Timeless Keith says, little setup on a budget. After setting up my year ago, because I never used it and I lose a few pounds, bought a setup which is cheap. And then maybe later on dish out something more expensive. Further down, one reporter, 1862, says transcribing a podcast I'm listening to. How can I transcribe one that's not my own, but I listen to online? I'm listening to some specialized podcasts about my discipline on SoundCloud. It'd be helpful to read them after as well. I found that, when it comes to podcasts, one of the big things is that unlike reading a book, you can't just hop between different types of material. Listening to a podcast is very linear, and you've got to wait for the trail of thought to finish to get to move on to the next idea. And since you don't get a visual spatial sense that detects for you, senses for you at what point where to stop, you really just can't navigate very well the content that's being there. You just have to sit there and listen, and if you're going to rewind, you have to hope that you rewind to the right time. So and that's one of the limitations of audio media, right? Recommendations for offline media app. After I finish editing episode, I like to review the whole thing by listening carefully on my iPhone. Take notes on the recording intro, find positions where it requires for editing. I can't seem to find good apps to listen to music and podcasts offline. The only ones I found require you to watch very annoying ads and whatnot. It's kind of deal breaker, right? Start a new music podcast where I review music artists. Another new podcaster cuts to the chase. Focus popular culture aspects of the artist and corresponding albums and created from a historical perspective, as well as my own commentary for how it impacted me in my life development musically. Is there any content out there on the web that provides a clear and concise explanation for do's and don'ts of using musical clips from musicians? Right? Obviously, at this point, it's just asking for it. Copyright. And just doing for fun and no money. It's not whether or not I make money. I'm thinking of playing a short clip of a song to create atmosphere. Okay. Oh, I'm an idiot. Bought some video gear, waste potential, made a video about it. Yeah, a lot of people have done that before. You can just record everything and anything. So why not record something about your podcasting gear? Yeah, and that's about it, So I have a music license, how to get on YouTube. Problem is I can't figure out to get this license on YouTube. A lot of it is copyright questions, right? How do I properly ask for permission to use some of the music in my intro or outro? Text file, necessary information. I can dispute the claim using my account and forward the licensing information to YouTube. This will clear things up and remove the copyright claim from the video. Yeah, so it's a lot of copyright issues here. Ultimately. So that's about it for this. I don't want to cover more Reddit stuff, honestly. It's just copyright stuff about music. So long story short, here's the webpage, right? I just went to Bing and searched the Wisdom app. Wisdom podcast app. Conversations that matter. Claim your podcast. Get started. Have you claimed your podcast on Wisdom? We will soon connect your podcast thing. New vibe, live better. Once again, that's the app I talked about in the previous episode, where it shows you, if you feel the entry for you to enter questions to each of the people on the Wisdom app, and they can create a talk, which is just a mini podcast about anything for you to connect with, really. Yeah. So that's that. Wisdom app, a Google Play, yeah, so on and so forth. Alright, so this is fairly important. Now, as I was talking about Wisdom, this is basically the point I wish, after submitting my form, which I followed up from their email, found no response, searched it up on the web, any changes to Wisdom recently. Turns out they have a form, filled that out instead, since it's free now, instead of requiring a talent acquisition team to reach out to you, and joined after confirming email and everything. And then after that, the next step was to link my podcast. So what I had to do, well, I had to get the RSS feed, I had to get the Spotify podcast URL link, the podcast link on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, and also my main website, podcasting website, and just sync everything over onto the app that I downloaded over a year ago, which is the Wisdom app. And save the links, change the bio description, create a new portfolio in order to do all of that, if not already using an old account. And so where did I get the links from, right? Had to be my own website. So here we go, our own podcast is right here. We have many web pages. This is the one on WordPress, and still have multiple web pages on WordPress. So this is Aro.wordpress.com. Going further down, Aro slice of life, in real life, IRL. Right, the navigation is home, media, podcast, and beast mode activate. So basically that's just a reference to the 90s show. Further down, this is the podcast submenu. Hey, welcome back to the Digital Respite Shelter. On row, Rishiv Zhurowski. Roy for short. We are independent designers and filmmakers. I don't really like that introduction, honestly. It sounds kind of corny and cheesy, cringeworthy. And filmmakers who love nature, placing its chaotic paradox squarely in our palms to try and overcome destitute homelessness. Channel reactions, content reviews, channel exploration and discovery. Listen to our podcast series available over here on Shrovsky.wordpress.com. And if you click on that, you will be led to the other WordPress website that I have. You go further down here, embrace the blossom fruits of labor. From enduring the living abyss to wholly devour euphoric tragedies, whether with riveting vigor or slowly encroaching piecemeal towards freedom and fulfillment. Super pretentious. I did it for fun though. I was only doing that because I thought it'd be hilarious. So it's a little bit like back then. I guess I had the kunk. BBC. Not that BBC. Kunk on history and stuff like that. Within me at that time already, a very blasé respite shelter. Okay. Yeah, and if I click on these, they will lead to different places like Linktree Media. This one takes me to Linktree, obviously. I hope it's not gonna open a new. Probably gonna open a new tab. And of course, we can actually go to the main homepage if we want. But I have a feeling it's just opened a new tab, and so I'm not gonna be like cussing myself out. Needless to say, there's a variety of links here on this webpage, and it's my webpage. So here we go. That's the link tree. Right. Subscribe. We have all our podcasts on Amazon, Deezer, Spotify. Right. Content reviews, discovery, nutrition, Patreon. Contact us on Discord, reach out, form. Right, here's our projects, our media, Twitch, WordPress, blog, YouTube, Reddit, DeviantArt. So I'm definitely gonna leave this open because I do need this in the future going forward. This is basically my webpage, my podcast, and just the multimedia project in itself. So yeah, very important, very, very important. All right, so this is good to be here because we're gonna hop into Amazon shortly. At this point, I can safely say we finished everything that we have to do about wisdom, right? And turns out though, in the previous episode, we said that we finished all the Google Gmail tabs at the time that were relevant. But now we're going to be moving in a tangent to a separate tab topic, which is we have at least 50 tabs now. Going forward into the next episode, we're going to start covering Amazon. So it's a good time right now to just prepare for that by visiting more Gmail tabs, Gmail tab topics that are going to allow us to transition from Wisdom, podcasting app, over to Amazon purchases and research of religious figures. So a lot of tech purchases as well as religious figures that we want to wish list and touch upon the cultural significance and the personal influences of ourselves. So here we go. This is just our main this is our main personal email back in the day, which we don't use often anymore, even though it still receives a bunch of spam email. And we're at the draft section because I didn't want to showcase too much important information. But needless to say, there is a lot of important information outside of drafts. Over here, these drafts are just like old. I don't mind showing them. Richard Southern, it must be some kind of like, I don't know, news. That was a student employment draft from way back when I was working summer student. That's over 10 years ago. For the Gladstone Cadbury Chocolate Factory, up by the west side of our city. Kind of like Little Portugal, Little India. I mean, not Little India, Little Portugal and Little Italy. Yeah, but this tab can go. I'll just mention that what's important about this tab is really the fact that if I click on inbox instead of leaving on drafts, on starred, snoozed, important. If we go to inbox, not only are there the drafts of emails from Wisdom that came from Megan and whatnot, who is the talent acquisition and a chatbot. I also have emails in the inbox that are from a recent major big multi-item purchase on Amazon. Very important items for sure. I can't talk about all the purchases because some of them are related to security, but I still believe that it's worth mentioning that the invoices, as well as plenty of confirmation emails saying that the order fulfillment was successful and that it's on its way in transit being shipped, is fairly important because even though, I do have just notices of invoices, I'm going to download and save that and claim that on business taxes for next year, 2026. But in addition to that, it's also helpful to know that the items are being shipped because they're going to go to one of my buddy's places. Well, not his place, but the rep family. And so I'm going to visit him and his family to pick up some stuff once I know they've arrived. So it's good to have the email confirmed from Amazon that it's being shipped. Probably arriving like this weekend. All right. So this is a very old email actually that I don't use at all. It's like a backup recovery email. And once again, on Gmail, just a different account. And just trying to get rid of it all. So it just says that there's no saved drafts here at all. And you can tell that it's just totally blank white. I didn't even change the theme on this. This is just an email. It's kind of like it's not a throwaway, but it's just, I don't use this often. I'm not even sure if this has any storage space on Cloud Drive, but if it does, it's a spare that I could use, another 15 gigabytes worth of space, right? So, speaking of which, not only is that one email that we don't really need open, neither is this one. This is a duplicate of our Microsoft email, Outlook, or once was formerly Hotmail as well. So Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, just get rid of all the duplicates and spares that we don't need. It says you're accessing sensitive information to send a notification again, and we'll verify your identity. There's no need, just get rid of this. Alright, so this is the last one for this episode. Right, so we've managed to fully prepare for what's going to come up next. Basically, we're going to move towards Amazon, but we got rid of like Microsoft account and Outlook tab and a lot of Gmail tabs that were kept open for wisdom, social audio podcast sake. And then we also got to clear off a tab for Outlook email. So this is once again going back to Gmail again, right? Because that's going to be a good segue into Amazon, because we're going to talk about an extension we use on the browser to take snapshots, full page snapshots, side-scrolling snapshots of the entire page of especially very important, especially for getting screenshots of the invoices in full detail, invoice receipts for income tax next year and ongoing. So that's what we're gonna do. And so a good segue is just to finish what is I considered unfinished business. Turns out there were 2 tabs open for one storage, for a Google One storage. And yeah, I was short on space, 98%. There's that bar that I showed earlier in this episode, or the previous one, and last Friday meeting. But so is this. This is also redundant. So it's it's still Google One storage. It's my cloud drive, saying that I can select here items to delete, large files in trash that I can delete. And a lot of these items here, to honestly, are like, I believe they're prompting me to delete certain recordings of business meetings and the minutes of a business meeting with my team leader as we work together on the nutritional consulting and cellular research company for self-employment and business owners and contractors and associates. So I can't delete this, even though each of these I can see, Usana, so November 2020, can't believe that's 5 years ago. Training session 5, and it's 243 megabytes. October 21st, 2020, February 21st, 2021. That's one with my cousin. That's not even with that's not with the business. So there's a bunch of large files here. Think of like business meeting, voice recordings in minutes. And so I gotta keep it all, which means I can't spare any space. That's where we'll leave it. We'll switch the page to the next one. And normally I take greater precautions when it comes to this, but it's so small that you can't even read anything out of it. But this is a screenshot of one of the invoices that was sent by email. So this was for again on Gmail. It's sent to my Gmail account, which is why it's still gonna be the last thing we'll cover. But it basically was like a Christmas present I bought for one of my really, really good friends. One of the friends that I had a couple beers with, a couple pints with, and who I would always go to over to this place when I first moved into this current property that I'm living in. Really cool also, and I bought for him a piece of software that allows him to basically download whatever music videos he wants, among other things. And because he's a big fan in film and cartoon and comic book nerd like I am, and I think that's really cool. Cool nerd. Anyways, so that's that, and that's a receipt. So it's gonna be relevant going forward as we move towards Amazon. This is not from Amazon, but going forward everything will be. So that's it, and I'll wrap it up here. Good night, because I'm just gonna go to sleep, and I want to upload a separate episode, and that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is very important because I had to get rid of all these like Gmail. Gmail is very resource intensive tab topic. So is Amazon, because you're logged in the Amazon profile. So it's very lots of search items, lots of RAM, lots of memory. So I'll see you guys next time. Catch you later, alligator.